The VSTI synths are perfectly modeled after their hardware versions, and they are available for both Win and Mac platforms. The background music of the video was created by this Korg Collection 3. This video will introduce Korg Collection 3, the software synthesizer collection of legendary analog and digital Korg products. The Korg Collection 3 is an upgraded version of the original software synth collection, which was first released in 2004. Since then, that original was renamed to Korg Legacy Collection. It was a brilliant idea for recreating Korg's legendary synthesizers in software. New users who had no opportunity to get those original synths still have the chance to marvel at their sounds. Starting from 2017, the Korg Collection was gradually renewed with additional synths. By now it features 11 products with iconic sounds from the last several decades all the way back to the 70s. The circuitry of the analog synthesizers is precisely modeled by fully emulating the depth and complexity. The recreation was supervised by the original developers and advisors, so the collection remains faithful to the experience the hardware versions offered. The background music of this video was created by this Korg Collection 3, including every one of its synths. Some of those were even used in multiple instances. Let's take a look at those synths individually. The analog synthesizer MS-20 was released in 1978 and is undoubtedly one of the most famous synthesizers of all time. It has two VCOs with ring modulators, an EG with hold and delay functions, and an intense self-oscillating high-pass, low-pass filter. On top of that, it provides you with a freely adjustable patch section. All these combined allow the creation of extreme sound ranges. When I want to make some really weird and unique sound effects, I start with this synth and always come up with something satisfyingly unusual. Even if you do not like to mess around tweaking knobs and throwing patch cables all around, the basic sound presets offer you a nice starting ground. Then you can go further from there. If you can get your hands on the real hardware version, it's even better. The Mono Poly, which is a mono-polyphonic analog synthesizer, was originally manufactured around 36 years ago, though it still has its incredibly beautiful sound. As it has 4 oscillator modules combined with sync and cross modulation functions, it quickly became my favorite for creating complex and unique tone effects. Since then, when I see a nice role for it, I always try to put it into my songs. I definitely recommend this synth if you like to model your sounds, as this one has really a lot of knobs to tweak and parameters to combine for unleashing your imagination. The Polysix is an analog synthesizer introduced in 1981. By having 6 polyphonic voices, it quickly became popular over the other synths having one less polyphony of that time. It has several parameters and built-in effects such as chorus, phaser and ensemble, and despite its simplicity, it still can surprise you with beautiful warm strings and pad sounds. At the first glance I did not give it much attention, but after giving it several more tries I discovered some really beautiful sound combinations. Even though there are more complex synthesizers by now, I still recommend this one, as it can produce really awesome warm sounds similar to the Mono Poly. The WAVESTATION, released in 1990, is a synthesizer with an advanced vector synthesis system that could create new sounds by combining and connecting multiple waveforms. It was the first synthesizer enabling wave sequencing, and you can create patches using multiple oscillators and apply vector synthesis to them. As it has more than 1,500 programs, I always find multiple sounds I would like to play around with and eventually end up creating a new song in the process. If you are a big fan of wave synthesis, I recommend you give it a try. You will be surprised by the number of sounds to be familiar with from one of your favorite hits heard on the radio. The M1, released in 1988, was a synthesizer that defined the era of the late 80s and 90s with its digital multi-effect synthesis system. As it is a workstation in itself with an 8-track sequencer, it made the composing and production process much easier. It has so massive collection of sounds, more than 3,000 presets, that even after owning this synth for almost more than 1 decade I still did not explore all of those beautiful sounds. Even though its role as a workstation has been deprecated, the sheer amount of sound patches makes it still a great addition to the synth arsenal. The MDE-X is an effect module providing high-quality multi-digital effects by the TRITON Instant Effect algorithm. It has 21 types of effects, such as reverb or delay. It can even serve as a limiter or compressor. In addition, the predefined presets give you a good starting point for almost all your needs. The module itself is CPU efficient, which means you can easily use dozens of it without any problems. The MDE-X can be described as a multi-purpose module. If you need only one effect module, I highly recommend this one. In most cases, this will cover all your needs in a highly scalable way. The ARP Odyssey is an analog synthesizer originally introduced by ARP Instruments in 1972. It was reproduced by Korg in 2015. Later the software version became part of the collection too. It received various enhancements and built-in effects. You would be surprised how precisely you can emulate the classic analog feeling. The circuits of the original synth were faithfully reproduced while supervised by the co-founder of ARP Instruments. Some of its greatest benefits are the programmable arpeggiator, the rich polyphonic voice mode, and that all of its parameters are controllable via MIDI. The longer you experiment with its nice polyphonic voice, the harder will you be able to stop. The Korg TRITON, released in 1999, is a music workstation synthesizer featuring digital sampling and sequencing. It uses Korg's hyper-integrated synthesis system, providing dual filters per digital oscillator along with other configurations. It had many improvements over its predecessor, including 62-note polyphony, double arpeggiator, among others. All its enhancements made it to be one of the best-selling synths of its era. It is exciting to browse over its vast amount of presets. The software version has more than 1,600 preset sounds, as all of the expansion library cards are included. Although the software version does not have a sequencer, it does have a powerful dual polyphonic arpeggiator. Just alone for its expressive characteristic PCM sound, it is a wonderful synth in the studio. The Korg TRITON Extreme is the most powerful model in the TRITON series. It features the first ever valve force vacuum tubes in a workstation, which can be used as an extra effect, adding warmth, fullness and power as a nice distinctive tube quality to its sound. Regarding the sound banks, similarly to the TRITON, it has a very rich selection of presets. Thousands of impressive sounds, including extremely well simulated classical instruments. If you ever need a software version of a synth for an all fits all purpose, this once could easily fill that role. The original miniKORG, first released in 1972, was a 2VCO, 2VCF, 1EG, 1LFO monophonic analog synthesizer. One of its unique features was the traveler controller, the combined filters of the oscillator circuit producing distinctive results. The software version is not only a faithful reproduction of the original one, but it was further enhanced to bring it up to standards of the modern era. For example, it is capable of mono, legato, and polyphonic sounds as well. It also includes additional 5 stompbox style effects. The visual representation of the UI is the most realistic among all the collection products. Despite its small size at the first glance, this masterpiece of synth produces a lot of surprise with its synthesis. The Prophecy, originally introduced in 1995, is one of the earliest virtual analog synthesizers. One of its advantages was the flexibility, as its assignable knobs and many other controls allowed real-time tweaks to the sounds. This synth enables physical modeling. The software version fully reproduces the MOS multi-oscillator synthesis system, and is also equipped with pulse width modulation. The modeling capabilities are so deep that the combinations seem endless. By immersing yourself in parameter tweakings, you can conjure really breathtaking sound sequences. Whenever I want to enrich my bass rhythms with some additional effects, I always come up with some unique sounds from the Prophecy. I am a long-time user of Korg synths, and I am absolutely satisfied with the beautiful sounds and the wonderful modeling options of these products. Each synth excels in at least one specific role. Their sound is perfectly modeled after the hardware versions. The collection is available for both Win and Mac platforms and is usable in all modern DAWs. Compatible with VSTI. If you are looking for some good software synths, I definitely recommend you give it a try. You will not only get a wide selection of wonderful plugins, but also it will help you save up space in your studio, as all of them fit on your laptop. The link to the Korg Collection 3 is in the description of the video. I hope you liked the video. Please support by smashing the like button and subscribing to the channel. Which Korg synth is your favorite and why? Please let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching.